My name is Hadley, and last Christmas my family treated me like I was nothing more than a waitress in my own parents' house. While they laughed and toasted, I carried trays, poured drinks, and smiled like it didn't sting. But that night, one small word, just 2 letters, changed everything. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments where you're listening from. Would you stay and keep serving, or would you walk away? I had been in the kitchen since morning, basting, chopping, arranging appetizers into neat little rows. My mother called it tradition, but what she meant was Hadley will handle it. By the time the guests arrived, I was already sweating through my Christmas sweater. Dad was busy showing Evan's new watch to Uncle Ray, while Mom straightened Elisa's curls like she was the daughter of honor. No one noticed I hadn't sat down. "Hadley, could you bring more champagne for Evan?" Mom called, not looking at me. And like always, I obeyed. I picked up the silver tray, the one that belonged to my grandmother, and balanced 6 glasses. The sound of laughter rolled down the hall, warm and careless, like I wasn't even in the same world. When I stepped into the dining room, every seat was filled, except mine. They had started without me. Evan raised his glass and said, "To family," like he was the one holding us together. Everyone clinked their glasses. I stood there, invisible, champagne tray trembling in my hands. That's when Mom turned to me again. "Hadley, sweetheart, fetch more ice for Evan's drink, will you?" I felt something shift inside me. Like plates of the earth grinding, ready for an earthquake. For 34 years I had been the helper, the server, the girl who made sure everyone else was comfortable. And now, finally, a word rose in my throat and refused to die there. "No," I said. The room froze. Evan's smirk vanished. Mom's smile cracked. Dad set his fork down like a gavel. And for the first time I sat at the table as if I belonged there. I thought no would shake the room. Instead, it shook me hard enough to make everything else come into focus. I stayed at the table for exactly 7 minutes. I counted them with the second hand on Dad's watch while Evan retold his ski trip story like it was folklore. Elise laughed too brightly. Mom kept trying to catch my eye, the way you try to catch a falling glass. Then I stood up without collecting a single plate and walked to the kitchen. The door swung shut and the noise dimmed to a muffled holiday soundtrack. Forks, glasses, that performative laughter I could recognize with my eyes closed. I set my phone on the counter and saw the family group chat lit up like a slot machine. "Mom, dessert plan. Hadley does espresso plus plates pie. Evan hates drip. Aunt Dottie, Hadley, those little crab puffs? Do we have more? Dad, we're low on Pinot at the head table." Head table. As if there were assigned ranks. I exhaled and reached for a towel I didn't need to fold. That's when I saw it. Mom's iPad propped against the backsplash, a Facebook notification popping like confetti. I know snooping is wrong. But this wasn't curiosity, it was self-defense. I tapped the screen. Her latest post. "So excited for Evan's Christmas dinner. He curated the entire menu. Our talented son." My thumb stopped mid-swipe. Curated. The word did somersaults in my head. I had been in this kitchen since 9 a.m., and apparently Evan had curated my labor. I scrolled lower. Easter, Evan at the center with my parents flanking him like bookends. 4th of July, Evan holding a sparkler while I'm just a blurry shoulder behind a tray. Thanksgiving, Evan carving the turkey I basted, captioned, "He brings us together." In photo after photo, my body existed only as evidence of service. Hands, elbow, a shadow carrying plates. Not one picture of me sitting at the table. I opened an older album, Childhood Christmas. There I was, age 11, wearing a new apron. The caption read, "Our little helper." Evan, same year, grinning with a game console in his hands. "So proud of our star." The words were a map I had been walking for decades and somehow never noticed the compass rose. The kitchen felt smaller. Not hot, tight. Like the air had picked a side and it wasn't mine. The door nudged open and Aunt Lydia slipped in, closing it with her hip. She took in my face, then the iPad. Her eyebrows lifted. "Ah," she said softly. "The Museum of Evan." I let out a laugh that sounded like it had been trapped under the oven since 2015. I thought saying no would make me feel defiant. I just feel visible for the first time. And it hurts. She came beside me, shoulder to shoulder. "Visibility can sting. Sunlight does that," she said. "But it's better than living in the shade." Through the door, Mom's voice floated in, bright, practiced. "Hadley, sweetie? When you get a second espresso." And napkins. Evan spilled. I looked at Lydia. She lifted her chin like, your move. I typed a message in the family chat and stared at it. I'll be at the table. Please ask someone else. I didn't send it. Not yet. Instead I texted Lydia, standing inches from her. If I stop serving, do I stop existing here? Her phone buzzed. She glanced down, then back up. You'll exist differently, she said. Some people won't like the new shape. My hands found the counter edges and held on. The funny thing is, I could have lived my whole life like this, making espresso in the background of Evan's applause. And I probably would have, if not for hearing my own voice say no out loud and realizing I didn't dissolve. I put the iPad to sleep and picked up my phone. New text from Mom, direct this time. Mom, honey, dessert soon. Don't forget Evan's decaf is in the tin. Then, as if clarifying my job title. Mom, we need you to float between tables so things don't stall. Float. A ghost verb. I typed back. I'm not floating. I'm sitting. This time I hit send. No explosion followed. Just 3 bubbling dots that vanished. Then a reply. Mom, we'll talk later. Please don't make tonight difficult. Aunt Lydia saw my jaw set and squeezed my elbow. There it is, she whispered. The old script. The emergency lines. I'm tired of emergency lines, I said. I want a different show. The door swung again. Elise poked her head in, cheeks flushed, eyes uncertain. She stepped all the way inside and let the door settle. Hey, she said. I just wanted to say, the potatoes are perfect. And, she looked down then up. I noticed you hadn't sat. I'm sorry I didn't say anything sooner. I was surprised enough to forget to be suspicious. Thanks, I said. I'm trying to change it. She nodded, relief moving across her face like warmth. If your mom asks, I'll do espresso. I used to barista in college. She lifted a hand in a little wave and slipped back out. We stared at the closed door, me and Lydia, like it might offer a sequel. She'll get a lecture for that, Lydia murmured, but good for her. I checked the time. 10 minutes had passed since I'd left the table. I wasn't rushing back. Instead, I opened my Photos app and did something I never do. I turned the camera around. The frame caught me in the kitchen light. Hair pinned any which way, sweater smudged with flour, eyes a little swollen and steadier than they had any right to be. I snapped one picture. Then I took another, not smiling, just there. Evidence that I exist at my own holiday. Send it to yourself, Lydia said. Caption it, I was here. I laughed. Maybe I'll print it and put it between Evan's Roman Empire and Evan's kayak. Start a new wing, she said. The Hadley exhibit. My phone buzzed again. This time the family group text lit up with plans for New Year's brunch at our place. My mother listed assignments like she was programming a wedding. Hadley, overnight French toast, mini quiches, fruit board, coffee station. Arrive 8 a.m. to prep. Not could you. Not would you like to bring? A directive stamped with my role. Something steadied in me. Not anger, alignment. I typed a draft email in notes addressed to Mom, Dad, Evan. The subject line read, about Christmas and going forward. I wrote plain sentences. No apologies. No hedging. I love this family. I have been treated like staff at our gatherings. I won't do that anymore. If I attend, I will sit, eat, and contribute like everyone else. If that's a problem, I will make other plans. I didn't send it. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted to sleep on power for once. I pocketed my phone and picked up 2 dessert plates. One for me, one for Lydia. I wasn't the server. I was a person carrying 2 small gifts for herself and her ally. We walked back into the dining room together. Mom clocked the plates and brightened with the wrong conclusion. Wonderful, darling, dessert service. I slid into my chair. No, I said, calm as steam. Just dessert. Evan tilted his head, testing me like a cat nudging a glass toward the edge. So Hadley, he said, New Year's at Mom and Dad's. Got your apron ready? A few chuckles. Low reflexive. I cut a bite of pie and let cinnamon sit on my tongue. No apron, I said. I'll be a guest or I won't be there. The table did that soft flinch it had done earlier. Dad's hand paused halfway to his glass. Mom's mouth opened, then closed, then arranged itself around a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Let's enjoy the evening, she said, smoothing the air like a tablecloth. No need for dramatics. I breathed slow and even. Agreed, I said. Which is why I'm eating my pie now. Lydia muffled a laugh into her napkin. Elise stared at her plate with the tiniest smile. For a minute, everyone remembered their forks. And because I knew I was going to need proof for myself later, I made a mental photograph. My plate half finished, my glass half full, my feet flat on the floor, my back against the chair, me at the table. When the conversation loosened, I leaned toward Lydia and whispered, "Tomorrow I'm writing that email." She whispered back, "Good. And if they assign you a menu again?" I looked down at my hands, steady now, and gave the answer out loud, to her, to myself, to the little museum in my mother's iPad. "I won't be attending." That night, after the guests left and the dishwasher hummed, my phone lit up with a text from Mom. "For New Year's, please arrive at 7:30 a.m. We need to start earlier." I stared at the message, opened my notes, and moved my unsent email into my mail app. To Mom, Dad, Evan. Subject: about Christmas and going forward. I placed my thumb over send and didn't tremble. When I hit send on that email, I expected silence. Instead, my phone lit up like a Christmas tree, and every message confirmed what I already knew. They didn't see me as family, they saw me as staff. I woke up the next morning with the kind of hangover you get from courage, not wine. My inbox had already started filling. "Mom, we'll discuss this in person. Don't be rash. Dad, your mother is upset. Think about what you're doing. Evan, seriously? You're ditching Christmas brunch because you don't want to make quiche?" I read the last one 3 times, then laughed out loud in my empty apartment. It wasn't about quiche. It had never been about quiche. At work, my boss caught me staring at my phone. "Hadley, you okay? You're usually the steady one." "I'm fine," I lied. "Just holiday family politics." He nodded knowingly. "Ah, the battlefield." That afternoon, my coworker Maya stopped by my desk. She wore a Santa pin that lit up with every step. "Hey," she said, "a bunch of us are doing a Friendsmas this weekend. No pressure, no roles, just food, karaoke, and bad sweaters. Come." I almost said no. Old habits. Always someone else's needs first. But something in her tone, the easy invitation, no strings attached, broke the reflex. "Yes," I said. And the word felt lighter than any yes I'd ever given my family. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying old holidays. Me washing pots while everyone else played board games. Me carrying plates while Evan opened another expensive gift. Me smiling in the doorway of a photo I was never asked to pose for. At 2:37 a.m. I wrote another list in my notebook titled Things I Want. For 5 minutes the page stayed empty. Then finally, to sit and eat a holiday meal. To be in a photo where I'm not blurred in the background. To be asked what I want, not told what to provide. 3 lines. 34 years, and that was all I could name. By Friday I'd made my decision. I emailed my boss that I was taking the day off. Not asking, telling. Then I turned off my phone, put on my coat, and walked downtown. I bought myself a peppermint latte. I sat by the window. No one called me dear, or asked me to fetch napkins. For 2 whole hours I was just a woman with a coffee, not a waitress in her own life. Saturday came, and with it Friendsmas. Maya's apartment was messy in the best way. Fairy lights strung too low, a fake tree leaning left, and mismatched chairs pulled from every room. Everyone brought something they loved. Cookies, curry, even takeout sushi. When it was my turn, I placed a pie on the table. "I made this because I wanted to," I said, and realized I was smiling. The night spun out in laughter and terrible singing. At one point, Maya pressed a Santa hat on my head and snapped a photo. "Say cheese," she said. And for once I didn't mind the camera. Later, when I looked at the picture, I saw myself in the middle of the frame, laughing, present. No trays. No blurred edges. Just me. But the universe doesn't let you change without testing you. Sunday evening my phone lit up. "Mom." Against my better judgment I answered. "Hadley, we're finalizing brunch plans," she said briskly. "I hope you've come to your senses. Evan has important clients dropping by and he wants the traditional spread. I told him you'd handle it." Her tone was flat, confident, like my email had been a dream. Like I hadn't said anything at all. Something inside me clicked. Not snapped, clicked. The way a lock does when you turn the key. "I won't be coming," I said quietly. There was a pause long enough to hear her breath sharpen. "Excuse me. I'm not attending if I'm expected to serve. I'm done being the waitress." Her silence was heavier than shouting. Then finally a tremor in her voice. This is Christmas. Family comes first. No, I said, steady as stone. Respect comes first. The line went dead. 5 minutes later a new text appeared. Not from Mom, not from Dad, but from Evan. Evan, if you don't show up, don't bother showing your face here again. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen. For the first time in my life I wasn't afraid of his threat. I was free to choose. I didn't realize how loud silence could be, until Christmas morning when I wasn't at my parents' house, and every unanswered message from them started to feel like a siren. I woke up to sunlight slanting across my apartment walls. No smell of turkey, no clatter of pans, no timer buzzing. Just quiet. For the first time in years, Christmas morning was mine. I made coffee and actually sat down with the mug. No trays, no interruptions. I let the steam warm my face and thought, so this is what peace tastes like. Then my phone lit up. Mom, where are you? Guests arriving. Evan needs you in the kitchen. Dad, this isn't funny, Hadley. Get here now. Evan, Mom is furious. Just come and do your part. Don't ruin Christmas. Each ping was more frantic than the last. My absence was speaking louder than any no I had ever said. By noon the calls started. I didn't answer. I pulled on my red sweater and walked to Maya's apartment for Friendsmas instead. The difference was immediate. Laughter that wasn't performative, food everyone had chosen for themselves, mismatched chairs, karaoke tracks that should have been illegal. I put my pie on the table and nobody asked me to slice it into perfect portions. They just dug in and thanked me. Halfway through the evening, Maya shoved a Santa hat on my head and took a picture of all of us, faces pressed together, blurry with joy. When I looked at it later, there I was, in the center of the frame, smiling. Present. Meanwhile, my family's panic escalated. Aunt Lydia texted me privately, they're in chaos. Evan tried to carve the turkey and mangled it. Your mom's crying about the stuffing. Your dad keeps saying, Hadley should have been here. For once, their words didn't sting. They rang like proof. Without me, the machine stalled. I had always been essential, they just never admitted it. That night, after I came home full of cookies and terrible renditions of Jingle Bell Rock, my phone buzzed again. A new message. Mom, I can't believe you humiliated us. Everyone saw how selfish you've become. Dad, call me tomorrow. We need to talk. Evan, you think you've made a point? All you did was abandon your family. I stared at the screen. Once those words would have crushed me. But tonight they felt hollow. Because for the first time I had evidence that I wasn't invisible. My absence had made me undeniable. Just before midnight another call came in. Not from Mom, not from Dad, not from Evan. It was Aunt Lydia. Her voice was calm, almost proud. Hadley, they finally noticed you weren't there. What you do next, that's up to you. I hung up and sat in the glow of my tiny apartment tree wondering, do I return and set terms or do I let their panic teach them what life is like without me? My absence at Christmas had left a crater in my family's perfect picture. But I knew the real test wasn't whether they noticed. It was what I would demand if they wanted me back. The week after Christmas was oddly quiet. No group chat pings, no be a dear reminders. Just silence. And in that silence I breathed for the first time in years. Then on New Year's Eve my phone buzzed. A call from Dad. Hadley, he said, voice rougher than usual. Your mother's upset. Evan's furious. But, maybe we didn't treat you right. The words were clumsy but they were new. A crack in the wall. Dad, I said carefully, if I come back it won't be as your waitress. It'll be as your daughter. Equal to everyone else. Otherwise I won't come at all. He sighed. Well, think about that. A week later Aunt Lydia came by with a bottle of wine. She set it on my counter and said, they're scrambling. You've got them where you need them. I laughed. I don't want leverage. I just want respect. Sometimes they're the same thing, she said. The next holiday rolled around, Easter. Mom called, hesitant this time. Hadley, we'd like you to come. No assignments. Just bring yourself. I didn't trust her words, so I set my own conditions. If I walk in and see a list with my name on it, I'll walk right back out. She didn't argue. That Easter, for the first time, I arrived without a casserole or a tray. My hands were empty and it felt like power. Evan looked annoyed, but when the table needed water, Mom turned to him. Evan, could you fetch some glasses? She said. He froze, confused, but went. It was small. But it was something. By Thanksgiving that year, the shift was permanent. I hosted in my condo. Small, imperfect but warm. Everyone who came brought a dish. Even Dad mashed potatoes while Lydia stirred gravy. When we sat down, there was no head table, no ranks. Just mismatched plates, laughter, and me in the middle, not serving, not floating. Belonging. The real test came at Christmas. My parents asked if they could join me, not the other way around. Things will be different, I warned. We cook together. We clean together. Or it doesn't happen. Mom hesitated, then nodded. That Christmas Eve she actually chopped carrots beside me. Dad set the table. Evan grumbled, but he carried chairs from the garage. And when dessert came for the first time in 34 years, Mom placed a slice of pie in my hands. I look at the photos from that night sometimes. Not the curated museum on Mom's Facebook, but the ones Lydia snapped with her phone. There I am, centered, laughing, holding my own plate. Proof that I exist. And I wonder, was it worth all the years of silence to finally be heard? Maybe the better question is, if your family only values you for what you serve, do you stay at the table? Or do you build a new one? Because me, I built a new one. And I never sit at it hungry.